Hi, today we're going to learn about how historians read primary source documents. Today we're going to read Hammurabi's Code. When you read primary source documents, you always want to be happy. Happy means you're looking for the historical context or what was going on during this time period that might impact the document, the audience, who the document is written for, the purpose, why was this document written, the point of view, who wrote this document and what perspective were they coming from, and how did that perspective impact them? So, was this person a king or was this person a peasant? Was this person a man or a woman? Was this person a Christian or a Buddhist? And how does that impact how this was written? You're not always going to find all the information about this in every document. The idea is you're trying to look for that perspective and that bias. Lastly, you want to look for why. Why does this matter? Why did we keep this? Why does this relate to any kind of prompt you might be looking at? And so today, as we look for Hammurabi's Code, we're going to start with historical context. First thing you do when you look at any primary source document is you want to look and see what the source is. So in this case, Hammurabi's Code is right here. You're generally going to find it at the top. Sometimes you'll find it at the bottom. There's always going to be a source to explain to you what this thing is. So in this situation, we're looking at excerpts from Hammurabi's Code. Well, that doesn't tell me still a whole lot. So let's look above here. And so I know that these always look kind of boring, but you should probably read the background information before you get going. It tells you a lot. More than 3,500 years ago, Hammurabi, king of the Babylonian Empire, ordered scribes to chisel a code of 282 laws onto a column of black stone. Wow, that just told me a lot. Okay, so our historical context we're looking at, this is 3,500 years old, so this is in Babylon or the Middle East, and this is from 1754 BCE, long time ago. And so this is a set of laws for the kingdom of Hammurabi. You'll also see that so the audience, so if this is a series of laws on a column of black stone, if you keep going, it says the column also featured an introduction explaining the intent of the code and the summary of Hammurabi's kingly deeds. So it sounds like the audience is the subjects of Hammurabi, the people who would follow Hammurabi. Purpose, it sounds like we'll find out a little bit more as we read, but it does sound like you're trying to find a code of laws. And so we'll keep going and find out what exactly the code of laws is trying to tell us, because purpose can also mean a lot of different things. There's generally a message, and that's where you'd find it with purpose. And then point of view, we do know right now that Hammurabi is, so this is written by a king. And so that'll give us some perspective as we keep going. All right, let's go through and take a look at a few of these laws. We won't get through all of them today, but the idea is to sort of look through these and try and analyze them. Let's start with Law 21. If a man is broken through the wall to rob a house, they shall put him to death and pierce him or hang him in a hole in the wall which he has made. Gosh, this is pretty strict here. So as I'm going through, I want to go through and highlight and see some things that I want to remember later. If we're writing this on paper, I might write a note that says, "Wow, this is strict." But since we're typing today, I'm going to go ahead and put down there, laws are strict. I mean, I wouldn't imagine in modern day that you'd be going and hanging people for robbing a house. So I'm going to keep that in consideration as I go. So if the robber is not caught, so I'm guessing this relates to the previous law where the man broke through the wall, the man who has been robbed shall formally declare whatever he has lost before God. Huh, that's different. That's not something that you would see in a law nowadays. And the city and the mayor in whose district or territory the robbery has been committed shall replace from whatever he has lost. Okay, so it sounds like they're trying to be fair and they're trying to protect the people. So because you don't want to have somebody get mad about things that they've lost. Also, you wouldn't want somebody going around retaliating. So it sounds like it's a little bit different back then than it is now. Law 48. If a man has money to plant his borrowed fields and a storm has flooded his field or carried away the crop, in that year he does not have to pay his creditor. Huh. So if through some act of God I cannot pay my bills, they're going to give me some more time to pay them. It sounds very different than the laws before, so maybe let's try and make a list of things the laws are about. Kind of sounds like the first law is about robbery or crimes. The next law sounds like it's about money. I wonder if all the laws are going to be like this, or if there's going to be laws about other things as well. We're going to skip down to Law 129. If a married lady is caught in adultery with another man, they shall bind them and cast them into the water. Whew, we're back to those laws being harsh again. Yowza. But if you look, also it's talking about women and men in relationships, which sounds a little bit different. So I'm going to add two laws are about crimes, money, relationships. So it sounds like Hammurabi's trying to let his people know that he's looking out for them in lots of different situations. So it sounds like he wants a lot of different types of control. Law of 148, if a man has married a wife and a disease has seized her, if he is determined to marry a second wife, he shall marry her. He shall not divorce the wife whom the disease has seized. She shall dwell in the house they have built together, and he shall maintain her as long as she lives. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. My goodness. So it sounds like the man is in charge because the man gets to remarry, but in 129, the woman definitely not. So he shall not divorce the wife whom the disease has seized. So it sounds like they're still trying to be fair. So I'm going to say, so as we're looking back and we're trying to figure out our happy, it kind of sounds like the purpose of the code of laws is to protect people in lots of situations, right? We've seen laws about robbery, we've seen laws about crops, we've seen laws about relationships. So laws are to protect people in many situations. I'm going to skip down to 195. If a son has struck his father, his hand shall be cut off. Whew, that is strict also. So maybe you also want to be looking at, they also are trying to maintain control of the kingdom. These are written by a king, so it kind of sounds like he doesn't want to have people in bad situations and make his life a little bit easier. So it sounds like he's trying to maintain control. Gosh, okay, so why is this important? So being a history teacher, I know this is the first written code of laws. We could also think about the different relationships that you can see within this. It tells you a lot about Hammurabi's kingdom. It sounds like there's lots of different jobs. So they talked about different types of crops. They talked about the different types of creditors. It also sounds like men are in charge. So you've got the man controlling the husband or the man controlling the marriage in both scenarios. He talks a lot about gods, so gods must be important. So you can learn a lot about this just by looking at a few laws in Hammurabi's code. This is how to read like a historian. So this can give you an introduction as to one way as to how to start reading effectively in history classes.